Hossein Mousavian was one of Iran's main nuclear negotiators. He served as Iran's ambassador to Germany, and he's joining me now from Paris to talk more about this. Welcome back to our program. Can I first ask you what you make of this response? It was telegraphed by Iranian state television, and now we're hearing the details that apparently it was 11 missiles. They say in proportionate response to the number of bombs from the mop bombs that the US dropped. What do you make of this response, and do you think it will be the only response?
I think, Christian, it was clear for everyone that Iran will respond. And the response also was expected to be proportionate. Now, just we have heard they have attacked American military base in Qatar, and Iran has publicly said this has been proportionate response. If this is the Iranian position, it means you have launched X number of bombs, and we have launched X number of bombs. The most important issue is exactly what Secretary Kerry said. There is no solution, military solution, only diplomacy. And I hope after this military escalation between Iran and the US, both negotiators would go back to negotiating table.
Let me ask you, though, because Iran had to make a decision, obviously. We've spoken in depth about how it has been weakened, both with its military capacity at home and with its proxies, who are its foreign shock troops abroad. It's been very, very, disadvantaged in that level. But the supreme leader, Khamenei, had to decide, right, exactly what to do so that he didn't, he hopes, invite an even stronger US response, and that the regime survives. Is that a calculation that was going on, do you think, in the establishment as they made this response?
Christian, I think always there has been a miscalculation on both parties, and also Western countries, they frequently have made and have had miscalculations. We remember the 8 Years' War when the US, Europe, Soviet Union, all Arab countries, they were united to support invasion of Saddam, money, weapon, the most sophisticated weapons. Even that time, Iran did not have missile. And the narrative was that, Shah is gone and Iranian army is in disorder. This is the best time to attack and disintegrate Iran. And then you noticed, despite of the consensus internationally from the Eastern Bloc to Western Bloc, Arab countries, everybody supported with hundreds of billions of dollars of sophisticated weapons and money, everything, propaganda, political. At the end, Iranian resisted 8 years and did not give a millimeter of their land, and Saddam is gone and the Islamic Republic is there. I mean, this is always the wrong narrative.
Okay, so let me ask you then to follow up on that. I mean, we're talking about the 1980s, and at that time, the leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, said that I will have to drink reluctantly from the poison chalice, right, the cup of poison, in order to end this war. Is that what Khomeini is going to have to do? Because Trump has said, surrender or else, or we need to, make peace or else. Is there a calculation beyond this response that the supreme leader has to make?
See, Christian, when in 1988, Ayatollah Khomeini said about the poison, it was because before this statement, he said he is going to fight until Saddam is removed. The only decision he made, he decided not to continue the war until Saddam is removed. Otherwise, he could save the country with his leadership. But at the moment, what is the most important issue on the table? Is it about nuclear or beyond? I personally believe Prime Minister Netanyahu, his objective is not nuclear, is regime change, is even disintegration of Iran. Whether this is American objective or not? This is the big question. Whether President Trump does not want nuclear bomb and his issue is nuclear, or he is after regime change. If he is after regime change, then you can, I think about a further escalation, regional war, trans-regional war, and a total disaster. But if his issue is about Iranian nuclear bomb, they have three major issues, Christian, on the table. One is about the IAEA cooperation with Iran, technical ambiguities, technical questions, or what? Or possible military dimension issues. As Secretary Kerry said, during 2015, the nuclear deal had and has the highest level of transparency and verification and inspection measures. Therefore, on this issue, they can exactly implement the same deal because the deal was already implemented. Every IAEA technical ambiguities were removed. This was resolved. Therefore, they have the experience, they have the deal on the verification. The second big issue is about the Iranian stockpile. First of all, as John Kerry said, Iran was not going to have such a big stockpile. When President Trump withdrew, while Iran was in full compliance with the deal, Iranians also minimized their commitment within the JCPOA and tried to increase the level and capacity of the nuclear program as a bargaining chip.
Okay. So let me stop you there because I understand what you're saying as a bargaining chip. But clearly, they misjudged. They misread the room. They misread Israel after October 7th. They misread Trump. And this bargaining chip clearly backfired against them. So the real question is, if they want to get back to a table, are they going to, as Kerry suggested, remove, I'm extrapolating, remove this commitment to the destruction of Israel and actually go to some consortium which you, I think, were involved with, which involves basically threading the enrichment needle, what they need for a nuclear program that's civilian, but off formal Iranian territory. Is that going to be what they might do?
First of all, Christian, I really don't know what would be the final position of Iranian government because I'm not in the government, but I also believe I have written for 2 years that there is a need for ceasefire between Iran and Israel. And Iran and Israel, they should go back to the UN Charter and respect the UN Charter, not to threaten each other. Therefore, this should be, I think, a principle that Iran and Israel, none of them, they should threaten each other. They should respect the UN Charter. The second is about the nuclear deal, about the stockpile. I heard Arakchi told Steve Witkoff during the first 3 rounds of negotiations that if there is a deal, Iran would be ready to export or to dilute the 400 kilogram of stockpile. Therefore, there would be no worry about Iran to make 10 nuclear bomb. And finally, the concern is about whether Iranian enrichment would be military enrichment or civilian enrichment. If they enrich below 5%, definitely this is civilian. And in midterm and long term, as you said, and I have already written, there could be a regional consortium between Iran, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Qatar, and other countries, supervised by International Atomic Energy Agency, like European Urenco consortium. This would be multilateral, supervised by international community.
The last thing then is, because you're a former nuclear negotiator, I asked the Deputy Foreign Minister, Mr. Ravanchi, before the US entered this war, whether if the regime survives, because you have said, you think the Israeli position is regime change, that they would go in secret and actually take a decision to make a bomb. Because of what's happened. And he said, no, never, we never have, we never will, etc. Do you think they might, if this doesn't get back to a negotiating table? Is that an option like North Korea that's left on the table?
I think, Christian, it depends to the end state of the current situation. If the U.S. and Israel would stop attacking Iran, Iran will stop. If the U.S. comes back to the negotiation table, Iran would come. If the U.S. would respect international rules, laws, regulations, which is NPT, Iran would be ready to make a deal and accept the highest level of transparency, open nuclear program, and then go to consortium. But if the objective is regime change and they are using the nuclear just as an instrument to bring this country to a total collapse, I think Iranians ultimately would go for nuclear bomb.
Oof, gosh. All right. Well, we've been warned. Sayed Hussein.